Hello? Hello? There we go. Hi, everyone. We're going over getting started with Salesforce CRM and Google AdWords. I'm Lauren Vaccarello, and this is John Kucera, and we're both with Salesforce.com. Before we get started, I want to ask the room a couple of quick questions. Who here actually has an AdWords account? Raise your hand. Fantastic. I'll try to skip the beginning a little with my presentation. Now, who here has their primary job responsibility running their Google AdWords, the Google AdWords account at your company? Who here is directly judged by profitability and traffic to your website? Cool. Sounds like a pretty good crowd. Okay, I'm sure you guys have seen this a lot. This is our Salesforce Safe Harbor statement. We're a publicly traded company. I'm sure you guys have read this several times, but if you have any questions about our company, you can go to salesforce.com/investor. Today I'll be covering AdWords best practices for setting up an account, optimizing your account, some landing page based for Salesforce, and then John will come in and do a Salesforce for Google AdWords overview and a Salesforce for Google AdWords setup. There's a slide introducing me. Okay, here's the agenda of what I'm going to be talking about. I'm really sorry if I talk quickly. I am from the East Coast. We're open for questions at the end of this, so just keep your eyes on me. I'll try to go through this as quickly as possible so we have extra time for Q&A. So what I'm going to cover is the what, why, and hows of PPC, what makes a good AdWords account, how to find the best creatives, writing your compelling creatives, and landing page rules to live by. In case anyone here isn't familiar with what paid search is and what organic search is, everything in the red up there is going to be your paid search. It's also called PPC for pay-per-click. It's called SEM. It's called paid search. Basically, everything on the right-hand side, when people search for your keywords, your company, they can see your ads on the right, but you're only going to pay when someone clicks on those ads. Everything in the center is going to be organic search. We're not really going to cover that in this session. So I asked around, what is paid search? We know that the paid search is on right, it's on the top, but what really is paid search? So I asked a few industry experts what they thought paid marketing was. Joanna Lohr, the CEO of YourJobStop.com, said paid search is a marketing channel that enables advertisers to buy ad placements on search engines and drive qualified traffic to their site. Pretty simple answer. But I got some great answers from Matt McGowan, the Vice President of ClickZ and SearchEngineWatch.com. He said PPC is a marketer's best friend. David Setzler said PPC is history's most efficient, effective advertising medium. These are very, very big, bold statements, but let's discuss why. So we're going to start with the anatomy of a keyword-targeted account. I'm sure everyone here is pretty familiar with this. If your campaign names, your languages, you set budget, ad group, keywords, cost per click, you get to choose how much you're going to spend each day. You get to choose your keywords, and you get to target specific locations. You can target locations by country, state, city, postal code. You can target paid search by region. The great thing about paid search is you have complete control. So how do we build a good account structure? A good account structure has small ad groups with a few keywords, multiple creatives going to landing pages tailored for those keywords and for those creatives. So how do we figure out what are the right keywords? How do you find keywords? Do you sit there and have everyone in your organization brainstorm for what keywords to buy? Do you whiteboard it out and come up with keyword ideas? Or do you do what I do and you take the lazy man's approach and you just use a few tools? There are great tools you can use out there that have done all the work for you. Your organization doesn't need to sit together and try to come up with every option because that's what these do, and they'll do it a lot quicker. Great tool to start with is the AdWords keyword tool. Enter one keyword, you enter multiple phrases in the tool, and it spits back out any phrases Google finds to be similar. You'll get some great information in there. If your main keyword is secure routers, you can get secure wireless routers, you can get Linksys routers, you can get zone alarm routers. If you don't even know where to start, you can also use the Google search-based keyword tool. The search-based keyword tool is brand new to Google. It's only a few months old. You get to enter your website. What Google will do is they'll crawl your website, and they will tell you what keywords they think you're relevant for. So we entered Salesforce.com. We got Google AdWords, and ooh, they're loud. We got Google AdWords on certain pages. We have lead generation. We have Microsoft Outlook. I don't know how they got that one. We have email marketing services, and they scan your website. They tell you what pages they think are relevant and the keywords for it. Back that up. This is great if you're an e-commerce site and you don't know what pages to target. You have a lot of different products. This will tell you what to target. I'm really loud. There we go. An external tool outside of Google is the keyword tool on a website called SEObook.com. You can use this tool for free. You just need to sign up. They have a lot of paid-for tools, but this is a great free one. And what SEObook does, you enter your main keyword, and it aggregates keyword research from a variety of different sources. So you have all the word tracker keywords. Word tracker powers a lot of different keyword research tools. It gives you the estimated daily search volume on Google, on Yahoo, on MSN. It tells you auto links to Google Suggest. You can look at the keywords on Google Insights. You can look up the keywords on Keyword Discovery. So if you only have 15 minutes and one site to go to, this is the one-stop shop for keyword research. But how do you get the most out of your keywords? Building an AdWords account isn't just about how many keywords you get. It's about what you do with the keywords that you have. One great thing you can do is come up with negative keywords. Negative keywords are terms that you do not want your ads to show up for. So we go back to secure routers. Keyword in here is how to secure a wireless router. If you sell secure routers, you may not have any information on how to secure a different person's router. That keyword may not convert for you. So right inside the Google interface, you can identify that keyword, add it as a negative keyword, and you can say, you know what, if someone searches for this, I don't want to show up. You can also move beyond broad match and use a search query report. A search query report is a great new report that should be showing up right here. And it tells you what keywords you're actually appearing for. So if you're using the keyword CRM, you want to rank for CRM, you're bidding on CRM on broad match, Google will match you to any keyword that it thinks is related to CRM. Some of the keywords may have nothing to do with what you're searching for. So you can pull up a search query report and say, these keywords are not relevant to what I'm doing. I don't want to pay for them. And you just get to use that to remove all of your keywords. The next aspect of creating an AdWords account is how to maximize your creatives. Your creatives are the 100-character text ads that appear on AdWords. But how do you get the most out of them? How do you maximize your creatives and get the most bang for your buck? This is what the average account in AdWords looks like. Lots of keywords, one creative, one landing page, usually the home page. The problem with this is not every keyword is the same. Not every person searching responds to the same keyword. And most of the time, if they're searching for your product, they're searching for information about your company, the home page may or may not be the best place to send them. I'm sure everyone here is really busy. You don't want to come up with 500 creatives every day. If it's not a core, if it's just a small part of your job, you want to get the most out of it, just start by using a keyword insert in your creatives. What a keyword insert does is if there's enough room in the headline or in the body copy, it'll put the search query in there. The search query will show up in bold, will stand out, will get more attention to your creative, get more clicks to your website, and it'll really drive traffic. One thing that everyone forgets to do sometimes when you're sitting and you're writing creatives and you're coming up with ideas is one of the most basic rules of marketing. Have a call to action in your ads. Buy now, save money, white papers, trials, get information. You really want to entice people to come to your website. They have 10 paid search choices and 10 organic choices. What are you going to do to really stand apart to get people to come to your website? And that's when your call to action comes into place. And even beyond calls to action, keyword inserts, you need to test different messaging. Not every message is going to work for every person. So come up with different messaging in your creatives. Set everything to rotate inside of AdWords. AdWords will normally default your creatives to optimize. Set it to rotate so you get a little bit more control. Test keywords in your title. Test dynamic keyword insert. Test different calls to action. One of the most important things is just come up with different ideas, since none of us are right all the time, and AdWords lets us let the data decide. And this is my favorite part of paid search marketing. It's the art of the landing page. Before paid search marketing and before organic got competitive, it was all about driving traffic to your website. How do we get as much traffic to our website? Because once people are there, of course they'll convert. It doesn't work that way anymore. You need to really entice people to fill out your forms to buy your products, and that's where landing page optimization comes in. I'm going to emphasize this a couple of times in the next few minutes. I'm warning you now. These are 3 simple steps to creating great landing pages. One of them, don't make your visitors work. Keep your landing pages simple, and I mean copy, and I mean both copy and design. The simpler, the better with landing pages. And please keep form lengths to a minimum. No one likes to fill out 15 fields to get a newsletter. So how do I minimize options? How do I include a clear call to action? How do I prevent my visitors from coming to my website, getting confused, and running away? Let's take a look at an example. It's an example of an old Yamaha web page. There's lots of different choices. If someone is coming to this web page off of paid search, why are you sending them to a page with 5 or 6 different options? If someone's doing a search for Yamaha pianos, this is the wrong page to send them to. They might get confused. Are they US? Are they international? Where are they shipping to? Where do they want the products to come from? Are they going to get distracted and go to Yahoo Motor Company? The attention span of someone coming in from search engine marketing is usually pretty short, and if you send someone to this page, they're going to look at it, assume they went to the wrong site, and click back and go somewhere else. So not only did you alienate a potential customer, and cost yourself money, there's a good chance if you send them to this page, you're sending them to one of your competitors. This is a much simpler page. It has a clear purpose and a lower user friction. If someone's searching for a particular Yamaha piano, we give them the piano. We give them our branding. We let them know that this is the website they want to be on. Here's our web to lead form. There's a clear call to action. There's a description to what they're getting. And the page is simple. It's clean. It gives people information without overwhelming them. And it goes back to the core elements of these pages. You need to keep your landing page design simple. Avoid complicated design elements. Flash looks great and may work on a lot of pages on your site. Flash on an SEM landing page will usually just distract people. Keep your content should avoid marketing speak. You want your content to be clean, direct. If someone's coming in for paid search, they don't really have the time to sort through what your marketing speak. Your content should be very easy to read and presented very easily. So one of my favorite quotes from WebPro News. It's online content is not just about words. When you write for the internet, think about a presentation. Think about interaction. People skim on the internet. People aren't sitting there, aren't looking to read a long, complicated page. They want to skim, decide in 5 seconds whether you have what they're looking for, or they'll choose to go somewhere else. There's plenty of other options for them. And this is a great example that we had at Salesforce on how a little bit of landing page optimization can have a huge difference. Is anyone here familiar with the Force.com free edition? Fantastic. It's a great, you get a free edition of Force.com, you get a free app. So the page on my right-hand side is the original page, and it was fine. We made a few changes to get the one on the left-hand side. It doesn't look like we made any significant changes. All we really ended up doing was adding a clear call to action, moving the image below the content, simplifying the content that was on the page. It's the same content on the page, it's just presented a little bit more organized. And just by doing this, we had 120% increase in form completion. We didn't try anything different. We didn't try a completely new marketing campaign. We told people what they were getting on the page. We presented content in a simple, easy-to-read way, and we didn't distract them. We didn't try to cross-promote. We didn't try to send them to somewhere else on the website. And it's these little changes that can have a big increase in your ROI. And one of the biggest things I can try to tell you, and even we have a problem with it every now and then, is keeping form length to a minimum. If you look at the long form and the short form, what you don't notice here is they're actually asking for the exact same fields. They're asking for your first, last, email, and phone number. The longer form is giving you that option. Well, you can fill in your email address, you can fill in your city, you can fill in all this information, but you don't have to. If people see that long form, they're going to run away. The short form asks for the exact same information, and I know if a lot of you have to work with your sales teams, they're not going to be happy that I'm coming in telling you get as little information as possible. It's not going to be what they want to hear. But that shorter form got 2.5 times as many leads as the longer form. It's the exact same information, but had 2.5 times as many people filling it out. So although your sales team will probably be a little upset that we're getting rid of a lot of information, they'll probably be pretty happy that we've more than doubled the number of leads we're getting. In case I haven't drilled this enough, these are our best practice tips for landing pages. Don't make your visitors work. Keep your design and your content as simple as possible, and keep your form lengths to a minimum. Okay, now that everyone here are all AdWords experts in the last 10 or 15 minutes, I'm going to do a quick pop quiz. Okay, your boss comes to everyone here, and I want everyone to participate. Your boss comes to you. We need to cut $10,000 a week in spend. You have 2 keywords to choose from. You have keyword A. It costs $9,000 per week, brings in 923 leads. The average cost per lead is $9.26. You have keyword B. Costs a little bit more at about $10,000 a week, only brings in 160 leads, and they cost $66 per lead. You have to cut one keyword. Do you cut keyword A or do you cut keyword B? Okay, so I'm going to do a show of hands here, try to get audience participation. Who here would cut keyword A? Who here would cut keyword B? Of course, this is a trick question. So once we started tracking AdWords into Salesforce, we started using the SFGA integration. We found out that keyword A actually has 0 opportunities, where keyword B has 31 opportunities per week. So keyword A has officially cost you $9,000 a week and has not made you a single dollar. Keyword B brings in $145,000 in profit per week. This isn't a Salesforce example, but this was my old day job before I had started at Salesforce. And just by using the SFGA integration, on this one keyword, we saved $250,000 a year in ad spend. And the exact same choice was presented to us, and I would have cut keyword B and basically lost us several millions of dollars a year without the SFGA integration. Okay. So I'm definitely not the expert on how the technicals of the integration, so I'm going to transfer this over to John, and he'll tell you a little bit more about how to get the most of your AdWords account, how to do the SFGA integration. And this is the super quick wrap-up, the longest text slide on the page. PPC is history's most efficient, effective advertising medium. Please, please don't send all of your paid search to your homepage. Use multiple match types. Test different creative messages. Keep your landing pages simple. And if you have an offline conversion element, the Salesforce to AdWords integration is definitely worth testing out. It can really maximize your advertising revenue and prevent things like keyword A from sucking $250,000 out of your budget each year. And thanks for staying.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Great. So my name is John Kucera. I am the product manager for Salesforce Marketing. So my area of influence is with leads, campaigns, web to lead, and Google AdWords. So I'm responsible for figuring out what to build and working with a great team to build it. So I'm going to be talking about getting started with Salesforce for Google AdWords. So what is this integration anyways, and why does it matter? Then after that, how do you actually get this set up? So a lot of you have existing accounts, and also show how this works for people that do not yet have AdWords accounts. Then we'll talk a little bit about getting your web form set up and the steps created there. And then finally go into a little bit of a demo before we get on to Q&A. So I'll try to leave a lot of time for questions here. So with your marketing spend today, there's a lot of different avenues you can go by. So on the left is some of the traditional areas where people spend money. And if some of you went to Laura Ramos's social media, you saw some of the slides of search engine marketing being really one of those emerging, effective channels that marketers are using on an increasing basis. And this is because you can actually track to see what works and what doesn't at a much deeper level than you can with a lot of the traditional media. So with B2B marketing, 85% of people that are looking for new products start their product search with a search, so with one of the search engines. And 77% of those people start their search with Google. So a very large, significant amount of traffic is coming to Google of people that are interested in buying products like yours. So this is somewhere where you want to be listening, and you want to be there with your AdWords to make sure that your message is out there, getting out to people. And the reason that you should integrate with Salesforce, so Google Analytics is fantastic, and you can get a lot of great analytics with it. It'll tell you how many people are coming to your website, where are they coming from, what search terms are they using, where are they coming from referral-wise, and also how many leads are coming in. So what's your conversion rate, how many leads are you getting, and what's your cost per lead. So this is all great things you can get with Google Analytics. But going back to Lauren's example, you can't track revenue or pipeline with Google Analytics. So that's where the integration with Salesforce adds a ton of value. So instead of measuring to how many leads are created, you can measure to how much revenue is created or how much pipeline is created. So you can track this at a much more deep and effective level. So there's 3 key steps to getting it all set up. So first, people start their search on Google, so you have your AdWords set up there. Then you drive those people to your landing pages, so web to lead or another web form that you'll set up. From that web form, those people get into Salesforce, and that's where we link the Salesforce data back to your AdWords information for these reporting and analytics. So somebody will go to Google. They'll type in a search word such as secure switches and routers, and then they click on Google search. And then as Lauren mentioned, the organic search results, so those that people have not paid for, are those that show up on the left-hand bottom side. So the most relevant, the people with the most links coming into them are going to appear the highest on the page, and those that get clicked on the most. And then on the paid side, these are those AdWords that you spend money to get your name up there. So it's really hard a lot of times to get in these first 10 results. So this is a way to get your company's name up there by paying for these ads. And the more people click on them, the more relevant they are, and the cheaper it is for you because your quality score goes up. But it makes sense for you to have a presence in the search marketing if you don't have high organic results here. So as people click on those links, so your link might be the secure routers ad at the right, it'll drive you to a web form. And a key thing to differentiate is that you could get a lot of visitors coming to your web form, and using some of Lauren's tips, these will really help convert these people to actual leads. And the benefit of that is that you can then market to these people and continually nurture them to get them through the pipeline instead of letting them go cold, unfollowed up on. So you really want to get to those key targeted people. So as you drive them to a web form, they'll then type in their information, and the simpler the better. And then if it's a Salesforce landing page, it goes directly into Salesforce. If you have a custom form, hopefully you're also getting them into Salesforce, and a tracking code will hook them up with the right AdWords information. So what happens once they get into Salesforce? So about 5 minutes after the lead is created in Salesforce, there's this process called correlation, which happens. And this is basically tying the AdWords information to the lead in Salesforce. So the first thing that happens is the lead source is updated to Google AdWords. So this is great for reporting because now you can see how many leads came in from Google AdWords versus other channels. And this then follows through on the opportunities in the pipeline. So it gives you some great metrics there. And then also, as we go to the lead activity, an activity is created which gives you all the details of how this person got in. So it'll tell you which ad they clicked on, which campaign in Google AdWords this is a part of, which text ad you actually served up to them and the exact copy for that, what URL you sent them to, and the actual search term that they use. So you can use this to also understand which search terms are effective and which aren't. So it gives you more feedback on those ends. And then at the bottom, that web to lead URL and the referral URL, if they came into somewhere else, they came into your web form from somewhere else instead of Google. So you can also have your keywords show up on referral pages, like let's say somebody else's blog in the relevant section, and they can also get your web form that way. So this is a great way to see if Google's driving that traffic or other referral places. So Salesforce or Google AdWords, again, just showing the great integration here. So you can generate those those leads with AdWords, and then Salesforce helps you convert and close those into revenue, tracking it all the way. So dashboards. This is a pre-made dashboard that you get out of the box in Salesforce. And this Google AdWords dashboard tells you a lot of great information. How many leads are you getting from it? How many are you getting by campaign? So it actually breaks it down by the different campaigns you have set up in AdWords. And it'll tell you your top keyword performers, so you can see what's working and what isn't. So maybe you can adjust your budget thresholds there. It'll tell you which headlines are working, which aren't. So this really helps you fine-tune what messaging is working and why. And then on the right side are some of those key important metrics you can only get with the Salesforce integration. How many opportunities are you creating from? How many leads actually convert to real pipeline and to real revenue? So this is where you can really see the true power and use this to hone what's working and what's not. So a lot of you already have an AdWords account, as we saw by ads. So the question is, how do you get it linked to Salesforce? So it's actually pretty easy. So if you already have an AdWords account, you go to the Google AdWords Setup tab, and then you put your customer ID in there from Google. So to get that, you log into your Google AdWords account, and then at the top right there is your 10-digit customer ID number. So copy and paste that over, go back to the Salesforce Google AdWords Setup tab, paste it in here, and request a link. Then you'll get an email and you'll get a message that says that this is pending. What we do on the back end is link these about every day, so it's up to a 12-hour delay for that processing. Once that's processed, you'll get another email to go back in, log into AdWords itself, and accept the API request. So the way that we connect the dots is we request API access to your accounts. It's totally secure. Very few people have access to even the fact that we have this API. Nobody will look at your AdWords. Nobody will change your information. And we make sure that your data is kept utmost securely. We don't have user interface access, so we're not going in there clicking around to see what you're doing. This is 100% secure. So after you accept this API access, your ads will then be linked with Salesforce. So a lot of you may not have AdWords already. So the question there is, how do you get set up? So we also have this section A. So if you do not have an AdWords tab yet, you can set up a new AdWords account right from this Google AdWords Setup tab. So you put in your email address, you create a password, you say what currency you want to use and what time zone you're a part of. Then you'll get another email. It'll confirm the creation of your account. And because of our integration, Google's given us a lot of $50 vouchers. So if you sign up through Salesforce, you'll get $50 worth of free AdWords that you can play around with to test this out with low risk. So once you've set up your account, the question is, what do you got to do on your website? So there's a couple more steps you need to do. So web to lead is the easiest way to make this happen. So you want to drive people to these web forms so you can actually capture these leads and connect the dots within Salesforce. So if you have web to lead, then you can just add some more key details at the bottom. If you don't, then there's a tab within Google AdWords which will point you to the web to lead setup page so that you can add a form. So on the left we see here is a web form without a form, and when you add web to lead, it'll look something like the right. So that's really that data capture that gets the information into Salesforce. So going through the web to lead setup. So first you create your web to lead form. So again, you can get here from the Google AdWords Setup tab. Once you're linked, this is what the page looks like. And then that link in the middle, Setup Lead Tracking, will walk you through each of these steps in case you forget from the presentation today. So first is you create that web to lead form and make sure that you have your website set up. Second is you add a tracking code, and third, we test it. So web to lead, what it looks like is you can pick which fields you want to appear in your web form. And as Lauren was saying, the fewer the better. If you want, you can also tie these to a Salesforce campaign by adding in a campaign name at the bottom as well. So this is a great way to track additional offers that you might have in and above. Like let's say you're going to change your web form. Maybe you send them to one web form, so you could track that with one campaign in Salesforce. If you want to send them to a different web form, you can track that with the second one. It's just another way to do more detailed analytics. But this is a way to set up those key name capture fields. Then once you have the web form set up, you want to add this to your website. So just plop this in the middle, and your web designer can help you out if you have some trouble there. Once you have that set up, and let's say everything's working well, you're creating leads in Salesforce, the last thing you need to do is set up some JavaScript on your website. And it's not as scary as it sounds. So you just click into this button, you copy and paste these 2 lines of code, you put them at near the bottom of the page, about 3 lines from the bottom. And then what this does is when you actually submit the form, it talks to Google, it gets the information and syncs it with Salesforce. So this is really the glue that holds everything together. This JavaScript makes sure that these keywords come over and all the information comes over into Salesforce. So finally, last but not least, test it. So before you go live and spend a lot of money on keywords and ads, you want to make sure this thing's working. So we have a testing utility in there which works very well. And this will catch probably about 98% of the issues that we have out there. It won't catch everything. Sometimes there's some funky JavaScript going on if you have like form validation. This is a great way to make sure that these things are working before you actually throw and spend a lot of money on them. So what about you, those of you that are using custom lead forms? Maybe you're using the API, maybe you're using some other form handlers, but you're not using web to lead. So with that, same steps, just a little bit different. So if you already have your web form set up, one thing you need to do is add this hidden field. And the name of it is SFGA. It automatically populates your org ID. And this is a way that we know when you submit this into Salesforce to tie it back to this org ID on the AdWords side. So It's a little technical on the back-end side, but this is also some glue that makes sure that we're pointing the AdWords information to the right place. Really quick and easy, just copy and paste it into your web form. And then same as with web to lead, you want to add these 2 lines of JavaScript to make sure that everything's talking in the back end. Last but not least, always test. So what does it do when you're finished? So go over some slides here and go into the demo. So I'll talk about what we do on the lead side, the activity details that come in, what happens during lead convert, what shows up in the opportunities, and then some of the dashboards and reports. So if somebody goes into Google and types in some information, let's say we're searching for Blue Series routers, we click search, and then on the top side here, these are all those organic results. These are people that have paid a lot of money to figure out how to get their links into their place and do the search engine optimization. And then up here, our ad. So if we click on this ad, this will take us to landing page. So once we click on this, we paid a little bit of money, so that ad cost per action. And then at the bottom here, we see our web form. So as a prospect, let's say we're David Edelson. And we'll say we're coming from acme.com. So as you submit this, this will then send you, using Salesforce Web to Lead form, into Salesforce. And just to show you on the back end how some of this works, I'm going to go into the page source for this page. So some of these look a little bit scary, but I want to show you where where the Web to Lead form goes in here. So form ends here. These are all the Salesforce fields up here. So here's last name, here's first name. We did a little bit of formatting to it. And then at the very end here is where we threw our 2 lines of JavaScript, and we also have our Google Analytics. So basically you throw that right by where you put your Google Analytics. So as the lead comes into Salesforce, it's going to look something like this. So in the interest of time, this typically takes a couple minutes for Web to Lead to get into Salesforce and a couple more for the correlation to happen. So I faked it here with our pre-made lead. So when this correlation happens, first thing that will happen is this lead source will then update to Google AdWords if it came from Google. If it came from another place, it'll be a web referral. And then on the activity history, you can see here where these lead source details get popped in. So you can see here all the information for this person. So the ad group was security hardware for our one here. Text series was Google AdWords. We can see what keywords we actually searched on, what was clicked, and all our referral information. So this is great, rich data that you can use to further hone your AdWords information. And then what you're not seeing on the background, we're connecting 4 other records to this lead. We're connecting the Google campaign, the ad group, the text ad, and the keyword. So we're taking that information used in that Google API connection and then tying that to this lead. So this is great for reporting. This lets you do all that filtering to say, I want to see all my revenue or my number of leads by this ad group or campaign or whatnot. So when you convert a lead in Salesforce, it's actually taken a little while here, so I can just skip to my opportunity. It'll create a new opportunity here. So when you go to the opportunities here, you can then go through and qualify it. And again, on the background, what will happen? When you convert this to an opportunity, these same 4 hidden records will then be tied to the opportunity. So as you convert it over, we then attach the ad group, the campaign, the text ad, and the keyword to this opportunity. So this is really where you get all that power, where you can get those metrics tied to revenue and tied to pipeline. So as you close it, it'll show up in the dashboard as closed revenue, and it'll show up in those reports. And until then, it's pipeline. So skipping over to the dashboard, going back into some of the information you can see here. So I went over some of the top information, how many leads you get. You can see how many by lead source and get a trend report of how it's going week over week. You can use that to help temper how many ads and how much you're spending, so maybe track your budget. How many opportunities you're getting by stage. So this is key to see how many you're actually closing and how many do you have in each stage. You can further drill into these. So this is a great way to really hone in and see what's working and what's not. So really track in and get to that ROI. Then from that dashboard, you can click into the detailed reports to see all the details if you want. So you can see how much money is associated with each of these and do any other filters. So the last thing I want to show is where some of these reports live in Salesforce. So if you go into your Reports tab, and then in the folder, Google AdWords Reports, These are all out-of-the-box reports that you get within Salesforce. So these are all the different metrics and analytics that can really add a lot of value, so you can really figure out at the appropriate level what's working and what's not. So last but not least, make sure you fill out the survey after we're done here, and you can enter to win a free Nano here. We'd love to know what's working, what you liked, and what didn't, so we can make this even better in the years to come. So I want to open it up to Q&A. First in the middle.
A great way to start is if you take a step back and look if there's a trend in a certain type of keyword that's driving all of these bad form completes. If there's specific keywords that are driving all of these bad form completes, start using negative keywords. If these keywords aren't really producing a lot of revenue or wasting a lot of your sales team's time, go in and make sure you don't show up on them. That we need to consider both the cost per click and how much a salesperson's time is worth. So go through, take a look at your data from a different angle, and just find out if there's a core set of keywords that are driving all of these bad leads, and start removing them and getting ways to get rid of them in your account.
It's not really that. It's just that people don't want to put down their information, so it's so easy to go ahead and take information down.
Are you?
Just to get a white paper or publication or a webinar or whatever.
What I've done for that is, do you give them what they're looking for immediately after they fill out the form? Do they get a link to the white paper there?
Yeah.
Put a note on your form page that says it's going to be emailed to you, so people will be forced to use their correct email address if they want the white paper, if they want any sort of information. Don't give it to them on the thank you page. One of my favorite things to do with thank you pages is say, thank you, we're really happy you filled out this form. Your information will be emailed to you. Go to these 3 sections of your website, since your thank you page really shouldn't be used to give someone what they request. Shouldn't really be used to give someone the white paper or what you promised them. It should be used to redirect them to a different section on your site, cross-market, cross-sell them something, and they can go to their email and get the white paper. And it should help prevent bad leads.
One other question with the forms, don't we need Salesforce organization as well to be able to go into Salesforce? Because I know some of the forms
No.
just have first name, last name, and email.
Yeah.
But you do need organization.
Pretty sure you need organization.
Yeah, so when you set up a web to lead form, it automatically creates that organization hidden field. So it does that heavy lifting for you, so you don't have to worry about it. And same thing with custom forms. Here in front. Typically, no. So we've only had a few cases where the jobs. So to repeat the question is, there are cases where the Salesforce JavaScript conflicts with other JavaScript that customers have, specifically around getting information from Google on cost data and other areas. And we have not found that to be a big problem. Occasionally it'll happen, depending on where you place it. Typically, JavaScript's executed from the top to the bottom in the page. So as long as you put it near the bottom of the page, we found that most of the conflicts go away, and you won't have those issues. Yeah, it shouldn't be a problem. So the batch API calls should not be a problem.
Put someone on this side, too. In front.
2 questions for you. One is there any plan to develop something similar for Yahoo and Bing and have it all roll up into one big dashboard where we can look it all up? And the other is, in AdWords and Salesforce, can I identify other goals, like they bounce off my landing page and then go fill out or complete something else? It's also valuable to me. I can see that action has happened.
So on the roadmap side, we don't currently have plans to integrate for Yahoo and Bing. We think about it from time to time, but we haven't taken the time to prioritize that yet. And if they do bounce to another web form, one way to make sure you keep that information is to put that JavaScript snippet on every single page of your website. So then we track from page to page who that person is, and we don't lose that information.
Can you add a query string variable to the landing page URL that would be automatically trusted to be created?
Could you say the last bit of it again?
Yeah, can I add query string variables in the URL I'm creating? It will be automatically captured and put into the feed information. Somebody clicks on my AdWords ad, it comes to a page that has to fill out a form, and I want to uniquely identify other variables.
You could. Yeah, there's nothing to stop you from putting more information in the URL. The variables that we add to the destination URL aren't going to conflict with that. The question was, can you add custom information at the end of it if people have problems converting your...
Now, the mechanism is to identify as to which field they're going to. Like, you have to identify what variable name is going to what the field.
We can touch base after the session. I'll give you more detail on how you might be able to work around that.
Someone over here. Yep, you can definitely do that. Normally with landing pages, I try to minimize the amount of places they can run away to, but I do always try to link back to the home page so that the logo in the top left-hand corner will still link back to the home page. All of the information on the form, everything will still, on the landing page, will still direct you to fill out the form. But if you're just not ready, there should be a link that just lets you go right back to the home page, and you can figure it out from there.
One up front.
But the JavaScript that you add, is it specific to that landing form, that web-to-lead form that you created? So if you're testing a couple different forms, do you need to add two different sets of the JavaScript to every page of your website so that you can track how they move to the website?
So the question is the JavaScript need to be different on each web form? And the answer is no. So it's the exact same snippet on every single page. Make that nice and easy.
Thank you.
Back. The question is, can you avoid overwriting lead source? We get this from time to time. And yes, you can file a ticket with support, and then my team will go in there and flip a switch, and there's this custom field called web source, which will then be populated. The downside of that is that the standard out-of-the-box reports won't work because they're all based on lead source. Question is, where does Salesforce lose track of people if they're clicking around to different pages? And the answer is whenever they go to a page that doesn't have this JavaScript on it, we kind of lose track of them. So as long as they're on a page in your website that has a JavaScript, that's why I recommend putting it on all pages. We'll keep track of them. But the moment they go to another site, then lose that information. Middle?
Are you have AdWords going into my Salesforce CRM?
No, it will not. No, so the web form, the web lead, will create the leads, and that doesn't change at all. And then all we do with this integration is connect that on the back end. So we make sure that the leads that are already coming in now get appended with this AdWords information. So doing this back end connection. Back left.
All leads coming in, do they have to go to the leads contact, or can they get created, like, can they create a contact instead? Or does it have to be the leads contact?
Question is, can you use Salesforce and Google AdWords with not leads, so maybe going straight to a contact? Answer for that is right now it's set up only for leads. So you can auto-convert afterwards, but if that lead is not there in the 5-minute period after it's created, then the Google AdWords integration will not find it and won't be able to connect it. Without other questions, I think that's it. Thanks all for coming. We appreciate your time. Feel free to stop by afterwards.